before we get on to the main issue of trying to work out what a woman is, I'm damned if I know. Thank God the Supreme Court are sitting in judgment to inform us. They should be able to let us know by tomorrow night. I don't know if you noticed this, but the BBC's Women's Footballer of the Year has just been named. She is Barbara Banda, the famous Zambian player. You've obviously heard of her. The thing about her is that she was taken out, she was withdrawn from a 2022 tournament in Africa after failing to meet gender eligibility rules. She's one of...
She's got a todger, hasn't she?
I'm not sure.
She's got a todger the size of Birmingham. You just know it, don't you?
I'm not sure it's quite as overt as that, but my point is, the panel considered 40 top women's players, and they chose the one who's debatably not even a woman. Why do they have to zone in on Barbara Banda? Have you ever heard of her before? Damned if I have. I mean, they could have chosen some English player, couldn't they?
Well, she's here with me at the moment, actually, so you're totally out of line on that. She's come round for supper, Barbara. She's just... But
did they deliberately find the sort of trans
of course they do. Of course they do. But this is true, Kev, of everything. You know, it is true of every award that is given out. It is true of every... I've just read the latest Booker Prize winning. I always swore that I wouldn't read a book which has won the Booker Prize because they're usually chosen simply because they conveniently fit in with whatever the political mindset is of the cretins who judge them each year. And so it is this year. You know, it's Orbital by Samantha Harvey. And, you know, bless her, she tried her best. She tried to write a nice book about a space station. But it's largely stuff about global warming. I don't have an objection about writers writing about global warming, but I just get the feeling, there being so many good books around at the moment, that she wouldn't have won if it had been judged purely on its literary merit. And obviously the same is with Barbara the Banda, whatever she's called.
Yeah, Barbara Banda, yeah. I mean, it is that they deliberately, you know, do you remember the Olympics, the lovely new sport of wife beating, where blokes leapt into the ring to sort of knock out women in about 3 seconds flat?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And, you know, one of the blokes who won the women's boxing, everybody said, how dare you question her femininity. Anyway, it was proved afterwards that she was actually, you know...
no, you're quite right, Kev, and I have to fess up, because at that point I stuck up for the boxer who was from Algeria and seemed to be genuinely female as far as I could see. But it's later transpired that he wasn't.
He wasn't.
It's a bloke.
Yeah.
It's another todger hopping up and down, you know, to get another prize. It's so depressing, and it didn't used to be like this. You didn't used to have it that the only people who were allowed to win things or be selected for things were people who agreed with your politics. It didn't used to be like that. And I wish we could go back a little bit to that time of...
Well, with BBC, you know, the BBC, you're in sort of gender-neutral heaven, aren't you? Now, let's just quickly...
Well, I also see, Kev, on the same subject, that, you know, it's Sports Personality of the Year, which is, to my mind, possibly the most boring show that's ever been.
Isn't it dull? Yeah.
I'd rather gnaw off my own leg than watch it. But this year they're very proud because it's going to be presented by 3 women. Why is that good? Why is it good that there are no men involved? I just don't get that. You know?
Well, it's the new way, Rod. Let's quickly talk about what's been going on at the Supreme Court today. A group, the feminist group For Women Scotland, have taken their case to the Supreme Court, and for, as I said earlier, for 2 days, or all of today and all of tomorrow, 5 learned judges are to rule on the following question. Is a person with a full gender recognition certificate which recognises their gender as female a woman?
It's beyond parody. Look, it's very easy.
It's not a woman, is it, by the way? No, it's not a woman.
It's not a woman. Check the chromosomes. It's all you have to do. It's very straightforward. It's pure biology. Check the chromosomes. And if someone is pretending to be a woman that isn't a woman, don't be nasty to them. Let them carry on. Let them do whatever they want to do. But they're not a woman. It's as simple as that. And why would you have to go to a court about it? There is no argument about this. It's a bit like Galileo, in the 17th century, going to a court, being hauled before a court because he's stating a scientific fact. It's just an absurdity, and it diminishes us all.
It does, doesn't it? That's my point, Rod. That's what I want to. Essentially, whoever has promoted this argument, call it the trans lobby, but they have succeeded in plunging this country into a kind of rank insanity. This is mad.
It's a rank insanity, and I also think it's going. I think the number of people who agree with this absurdity must be below 1% by now. I mean, no one agrees with this rubbish, apart from a few journalists at the BBC and the Arts Council and a few judges. It happens to be the people who decide what we watch, what we do, and what we see. But no ordinary people agree with this idiocy. And I think of all the rank and divisive and unpleasant emanations of diverse of identity politics, this is the one which will bite the dust first, because it is so obviously absurd.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that in terms of the attitude of the people of this country, they've had enough of this. I'm hoping Donald Trump will change the dial. Mostly the silent majority, if you like, over the years have looked at this nonsense, this gender politics, gender identity politics nonsense, and has just ignored it because they just thought it's absurd. Yeah. But I think they're reaching a sort of critical mass point where they're going to say no more of this, no more of this. Just because.
I think that's right. I think we've almost got there. When you get sort of weaselly little born politicians like Seb Coe deciding that women shouldn't be competing against women in cycling races and so on. And in athletics and in the Olympics, then I think, the avalanche has begun to fall. And I think this moronic obsession of ours for the last 15 years, I suppose, is gone and is going. And then there are the other ones we've got to sort out, the divisive race arguments, the divisive feminist arguments, all of them based upon lies, effectively.
Yes, and all of them promoted, of course, by The Guardian newspaper. Later on, I will be discussing whether or not, as its departing restaurant critic Jay Rayner claims, that The Guardian's full of anti-Semites and a very uncomfortable place for Jewish people to work.
Great turno, Jay.
Yeah, well, he's done a good thing now. He's off to the Financial Times.
Yeah, he's a good journalist, yeah.
No, I know Jay. He's a good guy. Listen, and so are you, Rod. Excellent to talk to you always. Look forward to regrouping next week. Rod Liddle there. The unique columnist for The Sun, The Sunday Times and The Spectator. He's a one-off. I think you're